Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about illegal immigration, specifically in America, and how Christians can wrestle through this very complicated topic.
How does Christianity intersect with the world that I live in, and how can I learn to follow Jesus in an everyday kind of way?
With Trump running for his second term as President of the United States of America, that brought about a lot of concerns regarding illegal immigration. And actually, it was a concern ever since he first ran years ago. At the time, I remember being concerned because at the time, CNN seemed very reliable to me as a place where I can go to get my information about current news. When I saw the headlines, the notifications, they were alarming the way they were being worded. It seemed to portray Trump as a future Hitler that was going to come into people's homes and we were going to be in a situation like, the Jews faced in Germany at the time of World War II. I remember when he won the presidency that first time, I remember seeing a Christian pastor, I think, trying to be sympathetic towards another leader of the church where they served together, who it seemed that, I'm not sure if he was an illegal immigrant, he left a message saying something like, "I'm so sorry, that Trump won the presidency." And there has been this type of heaviness narrative. There has been a lot of, when I first heard that Trump had made some negative comments about immigrants, that they send their worst. When you're young and at that time, it was a very unique America that we lived in, because in those days there weren't a lot of conservative Republican commentators online. There weren't a lot of other news places you can go to hear this, like the other side or their opinion on what they're reporting. And so when I first heard about what Trump said, it came worded in such a way like, Trump hates you, he hates Mexicans, and he says this about you guys. And of course, if that's all you hear, you're going to right away think the worst of Trump. So fast forward to today, it's a different presidency because he has the majority. He has more ease being able to pass the things that he wants to happen in this country, specifically regarding illegal immigration. Now it's a different America because we have so many, maybe too many conservative commentators online, and you can see it's the beginning of like a new era where we are getting our news from the little guys, I guess, the independent journalists out there. My opinions have actually changed a lot regarding Trump, and I'm not an apologist for Trump. I'm not here to portray him in one way or another. I'm just letting you know how the news, the way things have been reported, have had an impact in the way that I think of the topic of illegal immigration. I remember even just a few years ago making a video on this topic and sharing my own experience, having been born here, but my parents were illegal immigrants. I've just been through my own personal journey, going to school in public colleges, universities. I had been presented these topics. I remember going to a class in particular where we went through the terrible things that Native Americans went through, Mexicans and blacks. Slavery was one of them. So I just remember always leaving that class with a heaviness in my heart. Like, I can't believe this happened, in this country. With such a limited discourse going on in this country, it's very easy to not have all the information in order to make a more informed decision on what you believe is right as far as this topic is concerned of immigration. I remember sharing a video, and one of the viewers on my channel left a respectful comment that it planted a little seed in my mind. This person said something like, well, of course, if we want more of Susans in this country, because in that video I shared about how I contribute in this country and my husband, but the country can't or can only do what it can. And if we're not in a situation where we can actually help more people, that's the reality, At least that's how I understood the person's comment. And I thought, what, that makes a lot of sense. And today, more than anything, I wanted to just take a moment and encourage all of us to not be so influenced by the conservative or the, whatever you want to call it, the right-wing commentators. We can agree politically on policies. We can be happy that Trump is concerned about the bad things that are going on regarding, this illegal immigration, the bad things that are coming into our country as a result of that situation. It's fine to be completely upset and frustrated by the previous administrations that didn't prioritize Americans, and a lot of Americans have come out in the news as victims of crimes done to them by bad people. In the same sense that things can become a narrative on the left side of the news, the same can happen on the right side. And Christianity is very concerned about the truth, about what is true, right? And so we want to live based off of what is true. So that includes the topic of illegal immigration. We shouldn't just go based off of uninformed, one-sided takes. We should hear both sides out and find ourselves aligning with what is true. And that includes what is true about how we ought to engage others, specifically that disagree with us about this topic. And I find myself just kind of disappointed by a lot of the people that I agree with politically, with the way that they are talking about this topic. And the reality is that just because you are on the right side politically, it doesn't mean that you're aligning yourself following Jesus Christ in how you come across. There is a lot of, with this new way of sharing news, specifically on X, there is a lot of, well, I'm trying to make money today, I'm trying to live off of, the money that I earn on X or YouTube or wherever. And so people have to go after their audience, and they have to say certain words and certain phrases and even the way that they come across. So there's a lot of that going on, and to me, I'm concerned with let's get as many Americans to hear and consider what is true about the situation of illegal immigration. Let's go towards that as a country. So when I hear words, for example, like anchor babies or illegals, I don't think that that's the best way for us to help people that disagree with us hear us out. Like I said, the person that left the comment, the people that have been respectful to the point, those are the people that really make a difference in this world. as far as helping other people see things from a different perspective. I really do believe that that's the way that we need to be as Christ followers. We need to make sure that we are loving people and being respectful to people as we engage them. And I mean, we all fall short in this, but let's at least try, you know? Let's not be like, you know. No, these are real people we're interacting with. These are real people that are going through these things and these changes. And so I mostly wanted to say that we need to make sure that we are following Christ and check ourselves if we have been negatively impacted by our favorite commentators. Remember, we don't have to become like them. We don't have to sound like them. We are supposed to be following Jesus Christ. So however Jesus Christ sounds when he is confronting things, that's the way we need to be. And remember, he was full of compassion. He was full of righteous anger, but he always loved. He always loved, and it always came from a good place. And he was always in control of his anger, you know? The scene, right, where he's cleaning the temple, even that, I mean, it's not because he was angry that he displayed. He was actually doing something productive as he was doing, like knocking tables or whatever the Bible verse says about that situation. And if I have a couple more minutes, I wanted to just talk a little bit more specifically about where I'm at currently about this topic. As someone that is a Mexican American, I became an American because I was born here, and that is a topic that is being debated currently, that I think it's going to go to the Supreme Court if children of illegal immigrants ought to become U.S. citizens, or should they technically be, for example, my parents were Mexican citizens, so should people that are in my situation, how I was, should they remain the citizen status that their parents have? So I'm not too sure about the history regarding why it became a thing that when I was born here, I became a U.S. citizen. That's on the table, and at first it seemed extreme to me, but like I said, it's not about me. It's not about what my experience was, that when I was born here, you're born here, that automatically makes you a U.S. citizen. Well, let's pursue what is true. Like, okay, if this needs to go to the Supreme Court, the people that are supposed to interpret the Constitution accurately, let's go ahead and let's have some peace about this topic. If it turns out to be, actually we were wrong, and from this point on, we're actually going to change that amendment. And so, okay, then that is the world that we live in from that day on. And I shouldn't just hold on to a position just because that was the situation, that was the world that I was in. Our worlds change, you know? The world we live in America right now is a completely different world than like our founding fathers. Like we live in the world that we live in, and so we need wisdom as to how to live as best as we can in this time. I saw Selena Gomez, an American actress and singer. She went viral because she shared like 30 seconds of herself crying and saying that she was so sad about what was happening regarding illegal immigrant deportations, like the children that were going to be affected. I just want to say that this has always been the case. As far as my own experience goes, I always understood that there was a risk of my parents being discovered and having deportation consequences. I never really took it as far as like, well, what would happen to me, you know? But it was always a thing of like, don't get pulled over by the police officers. Always drive, speed limit, follow the laws. keep your head down, legally, and you'll reach that. I, as the U.S. citizen, can petition for my parents to become legal citizens. It was always that mentality. We're not going to go and shoplift. We're going to go to school. Some of us didn't feel right about driving because of the situation they felt, and okay, this one of us didn't drive because that was the convictions. It was a difficult situation, and it's not to say, oh well, this was okay or justified, but like I said, this is the world that we found ourselves in. The United States, the different administrations, they handled or didn't really put a firm foot down on this topic. And so a lot of immigrants were like, well, if we just go live there, we can have a nice life, doing whatever jobs we can do, living where we have to and where we can afford, staying out of trouble, and then eventually we can become citizens and we can assimilate. And so there was that path, and the illegal immigration laws and the history, it's just by glancing at it briefly on Wikipedia, for example, there's a lot of information that most Americans were not informed, and here we are talking so pridefully about, we understand illegal immigration. It's that simple as black and white, but no, there's a whole history. There are all these laws, and the situation that illegal immigrants find themselves in is very different now under Trump, and they're going to have to make decisions and realize that they're not in the same situation they were just even a few weeks ago, under Biden. And so that's a whole other thing, and how we are going to, if we know people that are scared that they're going to be deported, may the Holy Spirit truly guide us and help us to reflect His love to them, because it's not our job to be the Holy Spirit to them. Well, you sinned, you did the wrong thing by entering this country illegally. That's not your job, okay? Your job is to do what God commands you to do towards your neighbors. As far as whether that's right or wrong, people having come, even my family having come, entering legally but staying illegally, all of those things are things that I am reflecting on, and it's going to take some time for me to even just understand what my situation was as a child, and what decisions my parents made for their reasons, and what decisions maybe I would make without really judging them unfairly. I'm grateful, honestly, that I live in this country. I'm grateful that I was able to become a U.S. citizen. And I'm sure that the people that find themselves in a situation where maybe they won't be able to have the same opportunity as me, I'm sure that God is going to help them. If they are going to have to be deported, God is going to be faithful and help them to start a new life wherever they need to go again. But we need to be gracious about these things, and yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to say. I am thinking about sharing more about my story and just the different things, the living experience that I personally went through. I think that we can be better witnesses of Jesus Christ with the right heart and the way that we come across people. My personal advice, my personal challenge to you guys is avoid using terms like illegals and anchor babies, just because they don't reflect things accurately all the time. It doesn't encompass everyone's situation, and it's a little degrading if we don't call legal citizens legals. Hey, legal, you're illegal. Why are we going to call other people illegals. You know, I get it. Sometimes you're lazy and you just want a quick word, but go ahead, say the next word, illegal immigrants, you know, or aliens. I don't know what the debate is regarding that, but just that's my encouragement to you guys. Feel free to leave your comments, but please remember to keep them respectful. Yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.
You give us so much joy. You give us so much